You want to take out a loan. How do you take out a loan without having a complete farm record, a concise, complete farm records? You want to approach government subsidiaries, government implementations. You want to partner with people. How do you partner with people? How do you take, when people say, let me see your books is let me see your records. Without a complete farm record, how do you take a loan? How do you invite investors? How do you invite partners? As your Bible is to a Christian, that's how a farm record is to any farmer, whether plants, animals, any farmer at all. Especially if you're not doing digital Microsoft Excel and Word, especially if you're putting it in writing. What would you put down in your farm record? Why would you have a farm record? Hi. Welcome to my vlog today. I decided to use my camera for this because I know the quality is going to be great and you guys appreciate it. Today we are going to be talking about farm records. Farm records, because I'm responding to a comment that was made in one of my videos. A subscriber said, show us what a farm record looks like, and I promised the person that I would come back here and I'm going to give a layman's level of a farm record, and I'm going to break it down to a layman's understanding of what it means to have a farm record. So yes, welcome to my channel. My name is Onyinye, I'm popularly known as a fitness farmer. If you're talking about farm records, what are farm records for? Why should you have a farm record for your farm? That's the first question you should ask yourself. For those people who are not using computers or records to record their farm activities, you can also use a farm record like this. Why is it so important? This is the bane of your business. This is where you can check for theft. This is where you can check if you're doing well. This is where you can check if your business is going downhill. This is where you can know if your birds are getting sick. This is where we'll tell you the amount of money you're spending on feeding, on drugs. This is where we'll tell you if your production is up or going down. This is your business, my people. This is your business. So please sit down, cross your leg, take water, take Coke. I'm not a connoisseur for Coke, but take anything and relax because I'm going into teaching mode. Right now. So for me, a farm record is a document where you record all your farm activities, every single one of them, down to transactions, stock, feed, revenues for those who are into crop farming, crops, stock health, expenses. Every single thing goes into this book, into your what? Your farm records. Every single thing. Why people have farm records? Number one, financial tracking. Farm record helps to record your finances. It helps to monitor your income and expenses. It helps to keep track of how much comes into your business and out of your farm. It helps you to budget, understand your profitability, and it also helps you to manage your cash flow. I'll explain that later. How would you scale up without a record? So a record can be used, it's also used to plan. You only want to scale up without a record. If you cannot look at your record book at a glance and know if you're doing well, if you're scaling down, or if you have to cut down, or if, okay, I need to scale up. It's a record book will show you every single one of those details. How do you even monitor your workers? How do you know when your farm is not doing well? For me, it's from my record books. When I'm coming into the farm, I'm going to my record book directly. Let me see the record. Let me see what is on the books. With a glance, I can know how many crates of egg I produced that day. I can know if my birds took enough water. I can know if there was any antibiotic, vitamins given to the birds at any particular time. And I can know if the farm miscellaneous, if they are more than even the business expenses. Now let me blow your mind. even down to the credit used by my workers to call me is put down in my record, down to 500 naira credits. Every single bit of money spent, used, is put down in the record. How do you minimize waste and maximize profitability without your records? As a farmer, some days we would see that, oh, these birds, let's say your birds ate 10 bags of feed this week, and let's say they're eating 12 bags next week. You'll be wondering, why are they eating the 12 bags of feed? How would you know? If your feed store, can you at a glance know how many crates of egg you produced yesterday? Can you at a glance know how many broilers you have in your farm as at today? Can you at a glance know how many bags of feed remains in your feed store as of today, right now? Everything is in your farm record. You have to be deliberate. How do you show that you are making money and this is what you will make if this investor comes? He will take a look at your books. So if you don't have a complete record of your activities, of your profits, of every single thing in your farm record, let me leave it on DITTO. Records can also tell you on how you can cut down and improve. I would explain this later. There was a time I started giving my birds moringa. Moringa is a leaf. It's a very good medicinal leaf. For those people that might be wondering, I also take moringa, but it's a very good medicinal leaf. And I noticed that from the time I started giving my birds moringa, their health improved. So by my records, on the week that we give moringa, my birds are doing better. On the weeks that we are giving moringa, they don't need antibiotics or come down with any illness sometimes. Now, I would not even know this if the day we put moringa given to the birds, Wednesday, so and so dates, I would not even know, but just by my records. Farmers that have cracked eggs, or your birds need Lasota, or your birds need to be dewormed or vaccinated at a particular point. We cannot keep everything up here. Also cannot trust your workers or your managers to keep everything up here. You are dealing with livestock. So everything must be documented. This record I'm about to show you guys, this is the basic record. This is the least. In fact, I had to get the one that I could explain that I could explain to everybody, and everybody can get what a record is or what a record should be, because my own personal record is different from this record I'm about to show you. My personal record will have my sales, expenses, monies paid in that day, customers. That one is a different ballgame. But this record I'm about to show you here is the record that my workers used to record their daily activities in the farm, the bed, the weekdays, and everything. For me, I have two records. This is the layman's record. This is for them to understand, because they can easily impute what they need to impute every single day. My own record now comes, I have my own record which comes from the feed suppliers, which comes from the banks, the people paying me monies for my eggs, broilers, receipts. So that is another record which I have a template for, and I use to also keep track of my activities. So this must merge with this. For everything they have here, I also have it. But for now, and for today's topic, I'm going to concentrate on the layman's record, because my job is to make things simple and simplified for you. I'm going to show you the farm record which my staff at the farm use to record their activities. So this is a part of my layer record, and this is how it is. It's the January layer record, and on the inside you see the weekdays, date, number of bird, mortality, then the feed quantity, then the feed gram, the feed total, the total amount of feed used that day. You see the egg production per crate. Then you see the price sold that day per crate. If you're in Nigeria, you will know that the price changes every time. And so we have to record for that day. the total amount of egg produced that day, your profit for that day, the egg pieces, which is the remaining pieces. Let's say you have 50 crates and pieces, your egg cracked pieces should be written, your farm expenses, fuel, diesel, anything you bought, buckets or anything in the farm for that day, it should be recorded. And then the treatment given, if you bought vitamins or if you dewormed your beds, you should write it. And the last column is for remark. If there's anything they need to write on, they write it on that place. So this is an example of how your record should look like, and you can make it from January to December. This record is just for a particular row of beds in my farm, not the whole farm. I would explain why I have different records for each row, but this is just an example of how a layers record should be. This is an example of a broiler record. I have issues with this record because I made it in a haste, but nevertheless, we're using it to teach in this class. So you can see November 2024 to 2025, you can see drug, water, vitamins, and feed, and the farm record. Your basic broiler record can look like this: the week dates, the dates, like the days of the week, Monday to Sunday, the dates, the drugs given, the water, the vitamins, the feed, and the remark. Now, who can tell me what is wrong with this feed record? I did not see a space where I can see mortality. I did not see a space where I will see number of beds, and that's why I said this record has a fault, but just for the sake of this class, I am just using it to give an example. There are lots of things that should be added in this record, but for the sake of teaching, let me just make do with this. So this is a simplified way to keep your records. Every farm must have his or her own record. Every farmer. You can see, you can make it in a tabular form or any form you like. So I know I've showed you a video of the farm record and how it's supposed to be and what it entails. But I said this is just the basic general record. My own record, my own template is much a bit complicated, but not too complicated. Education comes into play. You know your figures, you know your numbers, you know your sales output, you know your sales input. But let's talk about the disadvantage, the lapses that comes with this farm record. Yes, having it doesn't mean that, oh, I've had the holy grail. Oh, my business is now good. Oh, my business is doing well. Lapses in this tabular form, in this written, in this farm record. And let me explain why. Your workers can have incorrect or incomplete information in your farm records. Yes, your workers can impute the wrong things out of carelessness or dubiousness in your records. For example, you got a trailer of feed. Let's say you got 1,000 bags of feed, and they are meant to count the feed and make sure it is 1,000 bags and impute it on the day, so and so day, November 7th, we got 1,000 bags of feed was delivered. So on the space for feed, they are supposed to put that date. And let's say they miscounted and somebody puts 980. The calculation 980 from a mistake or inaccuracy of record, you can lose a lot, which means 20 bags are lost. Some of them can miscount your eggs. So yes, there are lapses. So you have to have somebody who is diligent. If you can't do the job every day, as people who are in farming, some of us work, I'm a creator, I do a lot of things. If you can't do the work diligently, find somebody that will do that work diligently. Because you know your farm, you know your number of birds. So when you take a glance at your records, you say, no, they told me that they supplied 1,000 feed bags. So why am I seeing 980 bags on this record? Even if it's a mistake from your workers, they pay for it because of inaccuracy. So your farm record can be inaccurate if you're not careful, and it can lead to your business going down the hill. It can lead to theft. So do not only bank on your farm records. Irregular updates. Ensure that your staff or manager updates your record every single day before the close of work. Ensure that your record is updated and is up to date. Forget to log in, let's say expenses. I give an example about credit. Yes, even down to credit. That they took 1,000 naira to buy credit. It should be recorded as little as that. As you have just 10 pieces of cracked eggs, farmers who are into poultry would understand. When we pick eggs for the day, putting them in the crates, sometimes we can record, let's say 65 crates of egg was produced today with, let's say, 5 pieces. That 5 pieces should be recorded in your farm record. It's what you produce. None should be overlooked. So if your worker or your manager does not record when he is supposed to record, or is not regular with recording, then this is null and void. Lack of details. And that is why I said I have 2 records. My own personal record in my laptop, my own template which I have, and their own record, because you cannot record everything on paper. Where will your sales come in? For those of us that buy feeds in large quantities, for those of us that take monies, for those of us that have not even confirmed some of the monies that have dropped in our account and will not want that to be put on the general records, where will they all enter? So later on, I will talk about my own personal template. It's a bit complicated, but it is doable. Or you can get somebody who is good in creating accounting template like I did for mine to do for you. So you will have your own personal accounting template, and that is your record. Everything cannot be put here. But this covers 70% of your farm workings. You know a farm that the manager hid their record and told the boss that the record got missing, just because he was under investigation, and they know that if they check the records, they would see the lapses where he hid monies inside this record. And so one day the record mysteriously got missing from the farm. The risk of putting your records on paper is this book can get missing. So all your data is lost. What will you do as a farmer? So that is why I say have 2 records. For me, I have the digital record and I have the record on paper for my workers who can't use digital. I had to borrow this from them to show for this video. I have my own. Best believe that for everything here, I have it somewhere as a backup. So that if this is missing, because this is just paper, fire, water, theft, anything can happen to it. And then what will you do? How do you account for your expenses? How do you know the drugs or the vitamins or the days they are meant to take? Every single thing that your birds can take, should take. Let's go into labor intensity. Farm records can be really stressful, especially for big farms. Let's say you have a 20,000 capacity farm. How then can you use your farm records effectively, especially if you're not digital? Not everybody must be digital, but it is actually recommended for you, if you can, to go digital. Just input the numbers or have a tab. But if you don't have that, so many farms find it labor intensive, and that's where I would come into. I used to have a problem with this particular aspect until I got somebody else for this. Yes, the job is only at the start of work, early in the morning, and at the end of work. Her job is to input the records correctly before she leaves to the house that day. If it's labor intensive, you have to do the job. It's a lack of training. Yes, if you have untrained workers, how would they input the correct records into your farm records? How would they give you the correct spellings? You have drugs, you have vitamins. If your workers cannot perfectly input or record your expenses, your farm, your details, how would you have an up-to-date record if your workers are unskilled or untrained? So it's either you train the ones that are trainable, or you get somebody that's educated to do the job, or you do it yourself. Security and privacy reasons. This is why I say I have 2 records. After this video, I'll be showing you just the basic farm record, but monies are not there, my sales are not there, input and output is not there, total made for the day is not there. Yes, for financial and security reasons, because this book is public. This is public. Anybody can have it. Anybody can input. So you might not want your private financial dealings to be on this book. You that are like me, we create 2 books, one personal for me and one for your workers, because this is the basic. I know I've talked about the disadvantage, but the advantage is more than the disadvantage. How do you address these lapses? What can you do to correct all these disadvantages led to a large number? This is what you can do. Tell your worker, for every pin that happens, a deathbed, person records. Vitamin bot, you record. Credit bot, you record. For every pin that happens in your farm, it should be recorded. So you should have regular updates into your farm records. Standardized formats. It should be standardized. I made it as simple as possible so that even the layman can easily. It used to be technical before, but I found that some of my workers they were finding it hard to grasp, especially when it came to gram of feed. This one, that one, were finding it a bit difficult. So I made it so simplified, which I will show you guys at the end of this class how simple. I'll open the book and show you how simple these records are so that anybody can record on it. I said I have a digital backup. Always have a digital backup for your farm records. This can go. This is not safe. So always have a digital backup for your farm records. Analysis. Always have a complete and accurate data analysis. So all these things that I stated can make your farm records reliable. It can make this reliable. This is still king for me because going by the realistic scene, especially in the Nigerian sector, where we have many workers who might not be educated, all your workers might not be educated, this is still valid. So every farm should have this. I have this. This is still one of my most important records. I have it. You should have it. People, I hope you enjoyed this class. Let me know in the comment section what you think about farm records, what you add. I will also learn. I'm also open to learning. And tell me whatever you want to know, and we'll talk about it in another video. Please don't forget to share my videos. Tell people to subscribe to me, the like button. All these things encourages me to come here and sit down, pour into you. So thank you so much. You can see I've upgraded my videos to my camera because you guys deserve it. And please don't forget to subscribe. Help my ministry.